some of those wants and needs cannot be provided here. So, for example, we'd like to sit outside somewhere and drink a glass of wine and talk to neighbors like we used to. We don't have that venue here anymore. So we have clustered in Glendale, and we have a whole bunch of people that we all meet on Friday night in a place there. We have no meeting place in here for neighbors. When I first came in here, what I told you, the closest thing to the 75th anniversary was that we had a dinner, and it was put at the Legion, and everybody would bring a dish that would feed so many, and then you would turn around and meet all your neighbors. It got into a point that A, those neighbors have passed away, B, some of those neighbors have moved away, and C, the new neighbors that are here are working 2 jobs, and they don't have time for that. So it's just a realization of things that have shifted in the pattern of living, something like that. I think that my ideal mode, I would want to have a place that we can say we can meet anybody that wants to talk to us informally at Starbucks at 7. Now, how many people are going to show up, I don't know, but I know that a ton of people come to me while gardening outside. So there is a need of something that the people want to communicate, but we don't have a venue for it.
Well, and also, I think that the 75th is a great transition
I think so.
point. We've got events going on.
I think so.
Maybe not every event is for everybody, but we want this sense of community
Yes.
to be revived and come back. So I understand what you're saying, and if you're going to drink your wine, you don't want to go to a place where they only do it around the
Yeah.
But who's next?
Who was starting? Somebody started.
I was starting.
Oh.
Greg was started before you got interrupted.
I guess.
Oh, by the way,
That was good.
Greatest priority for the commission itself and what we've been focused on for a while, the playground. That's the biggest thing for us. We want to get that accomplished. The second thing is that, getting the golf course running, just what's going on right now, and seeing that it has some positive light that you can kind of see it through the tunnel, and hopefully it will get brighter and brighter as the year goes by next year. Walking paths. When you were saying about underutilized tap into, the best thing that David ever did was a walkway going down from Greenhills to Woods. And but we're looking for some more access, walking paths, or anything like that through Greenhills to get to Woods. And that's one of the things that Vince Wesley and a couple other people on the commission were really excited about. The next thing for me, as far as getting started, I want to get that restroom done. That's a goal. I want to get that.
No one can go until it's done.
Yeah. If you build it, they will come. That's what I think.
All right.
And what did you? Did you answer or have an answer for the resources and resources that were utilized?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Woods is underutilized
Okay.
resource.
we were talking about that earlier, about the progress here. Where are we thinking about a location for the restrooms? Is that by the existing clubhouse? I was thinking, would it make, I wonder if it would make any difference to maybe put it like in the other corner of the parking lot down past the putting green, right in that corner right there. It'd still be real available
Yeah.
to the clubhouse and everything. That might be a whole lot cheaper instead of tearing up the parking lot and running it across there.
Once again,
Let's-
we're not sharing our venue, baby.
Let's,
Elu.
sorry, Lou, that's fine. Let's not worry about site selection.
I gotta say this stuff when I'm thinking about it, because when I get home, I don't remember it.
You can write it down and send it to me.
David.
Mine is street signs. I think some really nice, classy. I looked this up the other day. I'm just bring my iPad to kind of show up, but some new street signs. I think signage goes a long way in really changing the look for a lot of bang for your buck. But I think could do it, maybe per area, maybe it's not, wow, we need all this money for all the signs in the village. Maybe we start in the historic district or something like that, but, I think it's a way to create a feel, a vibe.
What,
I wish we could.
so what's your plan going forward? I mean, do you have a census of the street signs?
No, I think that's what it would be, is one, how does everybody else feel?
When you say street signs, are you talking the sign that says you're on this street?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. One, to see if residents have, are attached to the ones we have now, that would really cause a lot of problems.
We've done a little work on it in art, because we were thinking from a design and beautification standpoint, which we'll have to get together and share. I can tell you, having painted some of them, there's some that actually, I believe they have termites. I mean, when you paint it and chunks come off, it's, but I think it's a good
They're
call.
wooden cliffs in the ground, they're gonna last forever.
What's that?
So we're gonna have to do something with about street signs, whether it's replace in kind or replace with different. So,
Yeah.
David, if you wanna start figuring out, putting your arms around,
Sign that.
And I think
That
it's,
project.
as Jeff said, I think it's good for both committees
Yeah, I
to
think
look at, do it anyway.
We'll share.
That's
Some
a
of
lot.
the things on that, ultimately, we will have to get rid of our street signs because they won't meet the new law. That's,
Oh, street signs are getting rid of that?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
It has to be phased in. The other thing that I wanted to let you know is we have, a couple of our original, street signs. Very big, very heavy, but, we were actually taking them to some vendors to see if anybody could duplicate it, with a lighter weight material.
Nice.
The only thing we know at this point in time is that we would have to have a, different color,
Plaque.
again, because of the reflectivity, we have requirements on that, but just to let you know, we were trying to get some prices on duplicating.
So what do the originals look like? They're on a pole?
Yeah, they were big, heavy, to me it feels like cast iron, of course, I'm not really strong, but then they have really a very ornate, this was just the top piece. It was kind of ornate, almost like a lantern looking things, and then the, street signs came off, and that's another thing that I think has changed. We can no longer do that, and we have to go at the top, so both sides are visible, but
And
we
where
can at least get that
those-
flavor and that
Where
look,
are those
because it would
signs
be
now?
cool.
Where are they located?
Are there any
The
In the
left?
service drive, no.
Oh, service drive.
Right.
alright.
Jeff's gonna beat feet there after the meeting.
Search too.
Oh, my gosh.
Did you have any resources in particular?
My resource, was same as, Greg, in that the Winton Woods parks and camping, and I live so close to it, but I see that all the time. We'll walk down the hill and go around the park and everything, but as far as camping, I mean, there's thousands of visitors. I don't know if you camp there much, but every time I go, I'm always amazed at the different number of license plates that are there, people you talk to that are from around the country. But we certainly get a lot of visitors that are from greater Cincinnati, that I think that's a great place to use to do the bridging and the partnerships with, to hear, advertise, and help the parks, and then vice versa. So I would love to have something with them that would somehow promote Greenhills, and we're obviously the closest place.
I think Yvonne had recommended us putting a flyer down there and maybe a pass, like a discount coupon to the pool. One thing that's nice is they don't have a pool. Now, they have the Noah's Ark and all that stuff, but getting people to link up and come up here, have an ice cream cone, and go to the pool with your family
Right.
is something I think is good.
Yeah, because I think it's ultimately it's all about the people in your front
Door,
door.
golf courses, they got two of
Well, I'm just thinking of the campers.
them.
Yeah. And then the same way, if we could somehow with the park district have something, and this is get big beyond the constraints that we have. If they had some sort of substation, if you will, in our shopping center that was for the park, kind of a spot that advertised it or something like that, I think that would.
Like a visitor.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we could get the police chief to waive the speeding ticket if they buy a
All right. Moving on, Maria.
Well, I would like to have the tax equalization board, if that's at all is going to be feasible to do. I would like to strengthen the liaisons that we have, since I'm a liaison with the schools. They have such an incredible amount of arts to tap with. I'm talking about music, I'm talking about the marching band, I mean, things like that, that when we have concerts here during the times that the school is in session, possibly they could come and join us, the same as they join us when we have the parade. And we have the Roger Bacon, perhaps having also them over. To have some more of a feeling that younger generation is part of it. If you're going to have, for example, the Fall Fest or Pumpkin Harvest or whatever thing in there, that might be also a way to include the arts department. And you know, they do all kinds of things as painting pumpkins and things like that in their clubs, and just have them take a more part of our community. We are part of them and they are part of us, and I think that that's underutilized, and I would like to see more of that happening.
Cool.
Okay, well, mine was a little bit more broad, since I don't have a committee. And I can't think past housing and commercial development is what I'd like to do by the end of the year.
Okay.
Any underutilized resources that you'd like to point out, or not?
Right.
Okay, but,
Well, chief, of course, is number one, but that's about finished, so. And one already, the other thing that falls under, safety is, one of the things we learned in the interview process is several of these guys made the statement, I'm kind of paraphrasing what they all said, is if you don't think you have a drug problem, you don't know what's going on in your community. All of them said that drugs is really growing, and now heroin has really become a huge factor. And he said, one of the guys, I think even said, I'll bet you have, a lab or something big going on in the community already that you don't know about. So I would like to see us, and we're already doing that. The chief is already doing that. I think Andy Moore has been to some kind of a drug interdiction training at Ohio State Trooper facilities. And I think we really need to kind of press that.
I've made some interesting discoveries on the trash pickup in the morning.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Scary. As far as underused resource, I don't mean this to be stepping on toes or anything like that. Mike Castor really impresses me. I think Mike Castor is an underused resource. When I see what he did with spoils, and he's the kind of kid that kind of just, when you give him something to do, he just really digs in. Well, you know this. He just really digs in. Yvonne relies on him heavily. He took over spoils, and were we losing money before he took it over, or where were we on?
No, it's just underutilized.
Yeah, I was aware that we were making those.
I don't, we were close to losing. I've talked to Mike about it. I can't remember frankly what he told me, but I mean, things have really changed a lot up there. A lot have to do with the food he's selling and other things that's going on. He's got leagues going on every night again, and the league thing had dropped off somewhat because there wasn't anybody really. I think Dave, what's his name? Not healthy superintendent, but Horning. Dave Horine, I think, just maybe, I don't know if he got just tired of doing it or what, but Mike's really done a great job up there. And when I see him, driving the brush truck around, sometimes, wow, there's a resource. I don't have any specific suggestions. I just think that the kid's got a lot of potential, and I hope that we can find ways to utilize his potential and his abilities in the future. And it's expressed as a golf course. Just really underutilized, has potential, I think.
Biggest priorities for finance, raises for the staff. I know that my comments Tuesday night were somewhat disjointed, but I'm really passionate about that. We have great people, we've got to find a way to compensate them. If we, and I'm working with Yvonne on that, if we lost our lowest paid police officer right now, we'd start somebody at what this person's making, and he's been there almost 4 years and he's not had a raise, nothing. And you know, honestly, I know people in the private sector have had no raises or gone backwards even, and are dealing with increased healthcare costs as well as these folks are too. I think we owe it to them. We've asked these people to find new sources of revenue. We've asked them to cut, and they've done those things, and we don't have any dead wood, because I went through the list with Yvonne and said, we talked about performance on individual people, especially for our full-time people. I just think we have to find a way to get some raises to them. And nobody's gonna go, holy smokes, this much? It's not gonna be that situation, but I think we do have to do that. So that's a high priority for me. The other priority that directly relates to finance is the shopping center. As the core of our community goes, so goes our community. And that shopping center, we continue to work on it. Some things quietly, some things maybe not as quietly. We just have to push forward on the RFP, push forward on things that we can do to make it more attractive for somebody to come in and do that. Whether it's having some phase 1 testing done where we have grant money and we can lay that in somebody's lap and go, here's an expense you won't have to incur with banks, et cetera, to get it. So those are the two big priorities for me. And I actually had two underutilized resources in Greenhills. The first one I thought of obviously was the golf course. And then one that's kind of always sticks with me is our partnerships or relationships with local, regional, and state officials. And even at the congressional level, I don't know Brad Winstrup, but I hope he comes to Greenhills, and I'll sometimes reach out to him and try and get him here. But you know, are there opportunities to borrow somebody's street sweeper rather than, you know, and share? In case it, whether you like him as a governor or not, he's pushing these local governments to do more partnership type things, and to the extent it makes sense, I think we ought to explore those. So those are my two.
Big goal for the years, get the charter revisions passed and have a successful 75th anniversary.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'm on it, you're on it.
He's on it. And underutilized resources, the golf course certainly was the first thing, that's what I wrote down. And then, in our residents, I don't think we asked well enough, and especially this golf course thing, there's going to be a lot of effort required. And it's just a lot of effort required to do a lot of things. And you're finding that out and getting people involved, and that's a good thing. You need to get more people involved.
I'm gonna squeeze it, we have till 1:45 break time, right?
Yeah.
Couple more questions. Warm up your pen. Okay. What is our tiger in the woods? Something that is not, that we're not, if not prepared for, could seriously trip us up. As a village, is there anything that you feel, you know, and open up your thinking, what would our tiger in the woods be? make sure we're prepared, at least start the process of being prepared for something unexpected. What would that be? And then the other question is, what process correction, how we do business, would you make immediately if you could to help the village run in a more effective manner? So the way we do things, is there anything in particular? I know we covered a lot in the charter and stuff, and you can restate something if it's a pain point for you. What would you do to make an immediate difference in how we run and produce good, positive results? Just tiny questions, that's all.
Yeah.
A little too.
All right, no, you know, I'll start. So it lasts a little last time. I'll start this time. You know, we've worked real hard to put a good professional staff in place, and the thing that really bites in the rear is to not support them. You know, obviously we're not a police chief at this point, but hopefully we will shortly, and, you know, given the quality individuals that we've interviewed, we're gonna have good police. We've got a good manager, we've got a good finance director, we've got a good service director, but supporting those people.
Fire.
Fire chief, yeah, and not just financially, you know, the reality is the reality as far as that's concerned, but, you know, we as a government need to remember, I stated this earlier, our roles, and make sure we support the people that we've hired to do their roles. And process correction, I don't really have anything, nothing came to my head, so I'm gonna move on.
I'm ready, I think that, for things to run a little bit smoother, I think we have, had a good start, but I would like to have a more complete calendar of events. So for example, I would like the retreat to appear in the calendar like right away, just pick a date, and that's going to be it. The same thing as the 75th anniversary, well, the 76th anniversary dinner to be on the calendar. I tried to do my part, and I presented that all the dates that I had proposed for the year for the laws and rules. I wanted to have it there so anybody that wants to come can plan to come for that. And I know that I have whatever it was, the 24-hour meeting, law, rule, whatever, to announce it. But I want to make it so people can plan it. Say, well, gee whiz, I wonder what she's going to be talking about this time. And I know that it is the last Monday of the month. And I had planned that on the dates in there and in the calendar already written. So I think that would be something to help things run smoother. Now, my tiger in the woods is the academic watch that we have in the school system. It's very hard to get people moved into the system when they have that particular label in the schools. Unfortunately, if anybody watched that last meeting, and I suggest very strongly you do, hear or see the replay on Waycross, they're forecasting another academic watch coming up. So, and that is really something that can make or break the village. Being the thing as it is. Now, we do have the Saving Grace of the Global Academy. It's a whole brand new program that attracts people from outside in. But what is keeping the people that we have in here, I mean, for heaven's sakes, they're going into Mount Healthy. I think we have something to work out in there that is going to continue being our Achilles for the near future.
Volunteers? Sure.
Okay, I'm always concerned about any funding cuts or losses or something we're not even thinking of, like, you know, mobile phone moving out or the Alzheimer's Center closing. It could be devastating for us. Oh, yeah. And I didn't answer the second one yet. Sorry.
She went
afraid you'd have to do it on Monday.
She runs the show, I can't get any better.
Always trying to think of those things, so.
I think that, although I wouldn't really call it a tiger in the woods, except in the aspect that when a tiger's in the woods, you don't know he's there. And I guess that's what you meant by that. But if Columbus in its infinite wisdom would decide to change laws where, you know, you can't have a bomb for whatever reason, I mean, we've got one of the few all-volunteer fire departments around. If something would happen to make us have to change that or rely on somebody
I
else,
actually thought you were gonna mention home rule, you know, that
yeah, that would be
Oh, yeah,
disastrous,
yeah.
economically, as well as level of service and everything else. That's probably, I think of horror stories, that's probably the one that really comes to mind for me. Something could be done to make immediate improvements to the village. I'm gonna paraphrase that. Is that close to what you?
Yeah.
I was thinking of.
I was thinking more process, but if you could fix something.
But it kind of philosophically, I wonder what, you know, earlier in the meeting, you know, I think we're all in agreement, we'd love to get more young married people in here with kids and that kind of thing, but is that really realistic? You know, some of us have talked privately about this, you know. And I can't say that we've really done a whole lot to establish a direction in that regard, actively. This is something that we just kind of talked about it, but we're not really doing anything to try to.
Well, you won't be able to do anything because it's all comes down to schools.
That's my point. So maybe we should not even talk about that anymore until something changes where we can be a viable attraction for those kinds of families. Maybe we ought to do some things to get seniors in here now. I know the problems with that. You know, that's going to impact
Income tax.
a lot of things. Going to impact income tax probably the most. But getting quality people in here that are going to take care of their property. You know, if we have to change the tax structure a little bit, I mean, I'm living off of that, and if I had to start paying taxes on it, you know, it would hurt, but I would also understand it wouldn't really make me move. And there's a lot of communities now that are taxing people that have fixed incomes, and there's a lot of other pressure. Probably the timing's bad for that. I don't know, I'm just kind of wondering here. I'm just thinking, maybe we ought to be looking in a different direction if we're gonna really do something to try to get people in here. All the things we're doing, that Jeff's doing, and you know, promoting the golf course, all these things are little things that are gonna make us more attractive to a variety of people. That if we're gonna kind of pick a target, I guess my point is, if we're picking a target, young families, I think is the wrong target. If we're gonna do that, we need to pick a different target. I don't know what it is. Seniors is the obvious one.
Hey, exactly. I mean, Mike
And
Giola was saying a long time ago, we got to get
Get
card
the carts.
friendly, we're green belts, you know, retirees mostly.
Bill Gates' club.
Maybe we ought to cook a deal with a used cart manufacturer or something and put it on the website where you can buy a golf cart, street legal. You know, have somebody see what it costs on a street legal golf cart, put them on the website.
$68,000, you're down at the travel sport and boat show.
What's that?
They were down at the travel sport and boat show. The street legal golf carts are, you know, they're available in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, they are expensive as hell.
Yeah, $68,000.
Yeah.
Glenn?
6 or 8.
Yeah, I think the biggest, or when you said tiger in the woods and what could jump up and bite us is just the whole staff thing. I think we've got a great staff now. I don't know the police officers as well, but the more visible people I'm thrilled with. And if we had an exodus of a few of them, I think, you know, there's always a fear, and we've always thought, man, if we lose Tom Doyle, we're in trouble. And you know, we hope to not go backwards there. But, you know, changing over a bunch of staff, you lose institutional knowledge. We work well with the staff, and I wouldn't want to go backwards on any of that. So, schools are an issue and they're gonna be an ongoing issue. I'll just kind of leave that there. And then, I think if there was anything that jumped to mind or a process or a correction, that we could make really quickly, I think I probably would have said it. I'm not bashful about that, so.
Tiger in the woods, it's ourselves. You know, little things can bite ourselves in the ass, especially when it comes to dissension amongst the people around here. I never been on Greenhills.com, but I just think that causes a lot of problems. But that's just it. We as a whole, it's a community. And the way you can actually make business better is when you get along better with each other. Instead of questioning everything you do. And you gotta have faith in what people do and the thought process and how they try to accomplish something, especially if they love something as much as they do. So that's the only thing. Tiger and Woods, I thought about ourselves.
And it's almost word for word from what I put down. I almost said the same thing. And it sounds corny, but the unity of our community, healing, a vision that we're moving towards, the caution of extreme thinking on our part, on different groups' part, because a number of times, happened even yesterday, where someone said, oh, I heard that that's going on, and instead of assuming, it's always, something, and it could be. I mean, I'm not saying that bad things don't go on, it's just that when you start in that place, it's difficult. So I'm jumping in there, and I think there's a pretty famous president that quoted, trust but verify. So it's not, I think it can be taken to an extreme where it's like, well, I'm not just gonna believe everything that person says because they are on this, blog spot or whatever. A little bit of trust lubricates and goes a long way. I think we have a big opportunity to start to turn things around. I think good things are happening. I think there's not a perfect person in this community, and if we keep that in mind, I think that can help a lot.
Did you have effective?
Oh, I was just saying if we can have ourselves to, as a tiger, we would actually change the business outlook about things. I just don't know if we can change enough to make a difference. I think what we have right now is awesome.
My tiger in the woods is losing our identity or uniqueness. Some things we have to merge resources, merge things together with other communities, and that's just going to happen. And in a lot of parts, that's a very good thing. You had mentioned, Jeff, about doing communities around us and sharing those things, and I think those are good ideas. And I mentioned about joining up with the park district and stuff like that. I think those are good, but something that may jump out that we didn't expect is blurring the lines of our community. All the great things that Forest Park has to offer, while you also get their baggage and anybody else around you. So I could see that as being something that might sneak out, because I know for myself and a lot of people, what brings you to Greenhills, what keeps you in Greenhills, is because you can't put your thumb on another place that's just like this, and I don't want to blur the lines in Springfield Township, Forest Park, Greenhills, everybody around us. It just all feels the same. It's no different.
And to tag on to that, I think that there's a lot to be said with having confidence in that area. I like the idea of us educating ourselves on not only what's good about it, but the history we have, the heritage we have here, and just I think if we have confidence, we don't have to feel like we're going to lose that. In other words, I don't think that there's guilt by association with this. Just because we hang out or do a couple things with surrounding communities or tap and share some resources doesn't mean we become less unique. But I understand the concern.
And then effectiveness, I just think with communication, I think our website has done a great job. That's come a long way. But I think to continue to work on that, the website, all call, and then maybe even like a mass email list. If you had to get somebody to check off that you can send it to them, but rather than us wanting people to find us and what we're doing, we push it out to them. So once a month, we've got a newsletter or something that, you want to be on the list, here's what's going on, we send it to you, and make it easy.
I like the mass email list.
I do too.
I hate it.
Do you really?
Absolutely. No, because somebody's gonna make a public records request, and then they're gonna have an email going to every resident, promoting whatever they wanna promote. And
I guess maybe
I don't
confused
want
about
my
that.
personal, I don't think I want my personal I
You
mean,
don't have to be on.
no, I know, but if we start assembling it, then we'll get a ton of public records requests.
Like that? I'm missing.
We'll get public records requests, we wanna see the email list of every resident of Greenhills if you have emails.
So how's that work? You're not allowed to share phone numbers, but you have to share, you know.
I don't know. Yeah, now I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I just,
Don't know. Don't even.
Well,
and as a recipient over 100 emails a day.
Yeah, I can say, but maybe there's a way to, they own a committee that residents started this committee that doesn't have anything to do with village run. You know what I mean? I want it to be just good, you know,
Yeah,
here's the great
yeah.
thing, we're having these,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
having a
Always
dance.
thinking negative.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean, it can happen.
Honestly, that's why I have not had any energy to update the village directory.
Nice doodles. I like those.
Nasty deals.
No, I said nice doodles.
But however we would need to do that, I think if there's a way that we can help you get information to people so that it's not, oh, I didn't know about that. I do get a golf course.
Well, and I thought the other thing, that we don't have everybody sign up for one call. I mentioned it to somebody and they said, what's that? Not everybody's gonna wanna sign up, but just making sure, maybe it's an article in the journal, just saying.
That's what we're saying, use the journal for that, it goes to every household, what's wrong with that?
I just think it.
People don't read that either.
That's right.
I read it from one
Everybody-
end to the other.
Congratulations.
You send me an email, here it is, I got it.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
We can check into it.
They are doing that.
We can check into it.
Yeah.
All right. Communications. Who else? What are we missing?
Well, I already mentioned one of mine, but on the process, I'm gonna go micro on you. I think that,
Uh-oh.
in other words, it's not a big picture thing, but I think it makes a difference. I think we should sit around the table at our working reviews.
I'm retired to get away from all these corporate jargon.
I try not to use them. I hate them myself.
Yeah.
I think there's value in how we sit around the table on a working review. We're not in front of the great glass
I like
camera,
that.
and I just feel like there's
Yeah.
more of a chance to interact.
More collegial.
Oh, he's just trying to throw it.
I'm not trying to, I didn't say species.
Okay, anyways, that would be one process thing that I'd like to see changed for us.
Excuse me for
Vocabulary.
Go with that, baby.
Can I go back to one call real quick?
Yes.
Since we're talking about it, and I think I mentioned this to you, that I'd like to see us expand the use of one call. It has been known as just recreation, but I think we can create different calling lists that if there are people who maybe just want emergency information, you know, we should have one, you know, that they might sign up, and then if they want recreation, they
you know,
should do that.
the Springfield Township does, and they don't seem to be discriminatory, and they didn't ask me if I wanted to be on their list. But if the Poots, the fan of the township, I get a phone call.
Alright.
Did you approve it? Because it's probably their source of,
Maybe
it's
could read,
a
yeah.
source of numbers, but we didn't start with that source. So we're building, and I'm assuming we're building with people who want the recreation information, but there might be a whole other group of citizens who want just the emergency calls. So
Okay.
we can expand
I
that.
like that idea, we have to be careful how we manage that, because, okay, this person, we're gonna make sure this group is just an emergency information and not, you know.
Yeah, well, and we can do that.
But you can actually set it up though,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Bitch was saying.
So maybe we put something in the journal that talks about that and the options, if you want just emergency information.
4 respondents.
Does this one cost, does that cost us anything?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
thousands.
Well,
About $1,400 a year.
Oh, is that unlimited use? I mean, if we, let's say we triple the calls, that's still, it doesn't affect the.
I don't think it does, but
Yeah.
it might,
It does.
it might, it's like the siren going off every Wednesday though, if we go too far with the calls, it might.
Well,
Yeah,
what's
I
the
think
cost
it's-
structure?
It's based on the how many phone numbers you have in it, so the more phone, like we have 800 some odd callers right now.
Right.
That number keeps going up, we'll pay more, but it's still
And
relatively
it's in
cheap.
a certain jurisdiction, right? In other words, if there's people, I've had someone ask me that is a former Greenhills person, they would like to be on it, I didn't know what to tell them.
Yeah, they can,
Okay,
because we're strictly going by phone number.
You got a 10-digit phone number to get
Okay.
the
well, that's good to know.
Alright.
So the frequency of use has no impact on cost, it's strictly the number of people.
Yeah, so we choose not to do it a whole lot, just because you just don't want to keep on getting these calls.
We don't want to abuse it, but
Yeah.
it brings up a big point, with, the dinner coming up, we may want to ask people if they want to be on the one-call system, or, you know, have a sign-up sheet for it.
At the dinner next week, yeah. Okay.
What could we do to help the journal go digital? Really, but you could look it up online.
It's all the dollars.
I think they've got a URL, but it's pretty sparse when I've seen it. So, that's thought, you know, that's just that's a matter of bandwidth and, effort on their part, you know? Don't know, I guess it's something to, be discussed with the board, with the journal.
What's the advantage to,
Well, people, you can just look it up online. If you do, hey, my wife threw away the journal, or if I wanted to read it, or, you know, it's always at your fingertips, kind of like an email is.
You mean like an extra service,
Uh-huh.
not instead of?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Just like the fire works.
All right. No,
Up online or read it up.
you know,
We're
if
moving on
you've
that.
got nothing else, I said
We're
we're
good.
moving on.
I've got more, but the time is to stay on track. I can give you questions all day long.
No, I'm sure you could.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn to executive session to discuss the employment of a village official.
second,
All right, it's our intention to come out of this and perform any official act. Yes, no, maybe?
No action, no action.
All right, then it's been moved and seconded to return to executive session for discussion